We gather here today to explore the role of the blue economy in St. Martin. Allow me to take a moment for a little disclaimer. So, our cabinet, and by extension this government, has been in office for the last 5 months. And while I stand here deeply committed to addressing the challenges of food security, I won't pretend to have all the answers yet. But what I do know is this. St. Martin has a vast blue resources, and from our fisheries to our marine biodiversity, it holds a significant untapped potential that can transform our food system and strengthen our resilience. And today we're here to start a conversation to take us closer to realizing that potential. First, we'll start about the blue economy. I'm sure most of you might know, so we want to talk about it to establish a shared understanding of what this concept means, especially in the context of our island like St. Martin. Next, we're going to be looking at where St. Martin stands today. This section will give an update on our current situation by highlighting the state of our natural resources, fisheries, and food system, and giving us a realistic snapshot of where we're starting from and a list of challenges and setbacks we currently have. Then, we will discuss the importance of food security, focusing on why building a resilient food system is crucial not only for the stability of our economy, but also for the health and well-being of our communities. This is where we can start seeing how the blue economy can play a key role. Following that, we'll consider our next steps, where I'll outline some of the actions this government is prioritizing to grasp the potentials of the blue economy for food security. This includes initiatives to promote sustainable practices, partnerships, policies, and support our vision. And then finally, if it's okay with you, Bacardi, I'd like to open the floor for just maybe feedback, if time permits, but maybe 1 or 2 feedback, just to have a little conversation. That's the key to it. That's why I want to say, let's have a little conversation, because I want to hear from you as well. So let's dive right into it. So about our blue economy, let me start with a quick show of hands. How many of you are familiar with the concept of the color economy? Show of hands. The color economy. Okay, not many of you. Okay.
I know the blue one.
You know the blue, you know the green too.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know the green. Okay. So the color economy it's evolved through experts and policymakers. They sought ways to address various economic environmental challenges. So the color-coded economy, such as the green economy, agriculture, the orange economy, the arts, King James, silver economy, seniors, gold economy, renewable energy, white economy, health and wellness, purple economy, care, and blue economies. They emerged these in response to a specific need of a sustainable development for each country. That's why you have the SDGs highlighting sometimes the color economy, but there's more. So while there are many other color economy, there's a black economy, and there's some other colors that I won't focus on, but actually this is where we're focused on throughout this term. You can expect to see us actively engaging in with most of these economies that I just announced. You're going to hear me mentioning, today I want to talk about a silver economy. Tomorrow I might want to talk about, for sure, the green economy. So today our attention is mainly on the blue economy. So what is the blue economy? So let's do a little deep dive. So the blue economy is a sustainable development and management of ocean resources to drive economic growth, create job opportunities, and enhance communities' well-being, all while protecting the health of the marine. So it's a multifaceted thing. We can't do one without the other. So in a nutshell, the blue economy is about balancing the economic opportunity with the ecological responsibility, in a nutshell. That's how I perceive the blue economy. So here are some key examples of activities within the blue economy. Sustainable fisheries and aquaculture. So managing fisheries and aquaculture to provide food and employment while ensuring fish population and marine habits while we preserve those. Then we look at renewable ocean energy. So utilizing wind, tidal, tidal and wave energy to generate clean, renewable power, reducing reliance on fossil fuels. We're seeing a lot of the farmers doing that as well. Then you have the marine tourism, promoting ecotourism activities like snorkeling, diving, whale watching, that encourage conservation awareness while benefiting local economies. So the blue economies, you can also economize it. So when I talk about silver, great, gold, it's where, how do you economize it and make money out of it? But here we have to also protect it. Then you have maritime and transport and shipping. So developing a cleaner, more efficient shipping practices to reduce emissions and minimize marine pollution. I heard that a lot during this week of FCCA, to maybe protect the the cruise ship industry. They're proud to say that 100+ cruise ships are coming. But what does that mean for the waters, you know? So that's something we have to adapt to and change with. And then you have the coastal and marine conservation, protecting and restoring marine ecosystem like coral reefs, mangroves to support biodiversity, storm protection, and carbon. And then lastly, the carbon sequestration and blue carbon initiative. So protecting and restoring the seagrass meadows, the mangroves, the salt marshes, which are highly effective in capturing and storing carbon as well. So these diverse sectors you see here within the blue economy aim to balance economic growth with a sustainable management of ocean resources, ultimately benefiting coastal communities and environment. So question is, where is St. Martin today? Where do we stand? So St. Martin's capital, our income, and the port play a vital role, a pivotal role in the island's blue economy. Not only the port, but you could say also the marinas, they also all play a pivotal role in the blue economy. With our prime coastal location, the port, as well, this port mainly though, serves as both a gateway and an economic engine, crucial to St. Martin's economic vitality. As one of the most frequented ports in the Caribbean, actually, I'm proud to say our port is the best in the top 5 in the Caribbean, best. And we got so much people wanting, so just on a side note, and again, FCCA, so many people wanted, so many islands wanted a tour of our port because many of them are tendering and they want to try and mimic us. So today, this week, I was talking to the director, are you going to give them a tour? He said, should I? Should I show them what we got? No, I don't think so. But most of them got to see the tour, because, the port, because we had an event there, but they actually wanted a tour because they too want to do the same as us. So this port, it supports our thriving tourism industry, bringing in cruise passengers, maritime visitors who contribute significantly to our economy. Beyond tourism, the port is also a central commercial shipping and fishing activities, linking St. Martin to international trade routes and supporting local industries. So let me highlight a little highlight of where we are in general, just high level. So the tourism and marine-based activities. So St. Martin's tourism industry benefits from attractions like cruise ship ports, water sports, yachting. These marine-based activities provide jobs and economic benefits while raising awareness in ocean conservation. Also, when it comes to the marine biodiversity, the island's waters are home to rich marine life, coral reefs and seagrass beds, providing both an ecological asset and a tourism draw. So efforts to protect these areas, including designated marine parks and coral restoration projects, enhance the biodiversity and conservation. So thanks to foundations like the Nature Foundation, St. Martin Pride, EPIC, St. Martin Maritime, the Dutch Caribbean Nature Park, they are the ones that help us conserve that. So we have that kind of support. And then the port and shipping hub, like I mentioned before, and then we have also potential actually for renewable ocean energy. So St. Martin's location and climate provide an opportunity for renewable energy. We have that potential, like offshore wind and solar, which could contribute to the island's energy independence and reduce reliance on imported fuels. Potential is there. We're right, our foot in the door, working towards that. So what challenges do we face here in St. Martin right now? Environmental pressures from mass tourism. So while tourism boosts the economy, the influx of cruise ships and visitors exerts significant pressure on the marine ecosystem, contributing to water pollution, waste, and habitat degradation, and particularly affecting coral reefs. So overfishing and limited fishery regulations, that's the key. That's my key takeaway this last 5 months in government, that I see that St. Martin's local industry is small but crucial for food security. However, we lack strict regulations that may contribute to overfishing, which can harm our fish pollution population and impact our long-term sustainability. You see, SABRE is doing it. They have their, but we don't have anything regulated here in St. Martin. Then we are a vulnerability to climate change. I don't have to tell everyone about that. I think we already know that. And then we have limited investments in the marine research and technology because the focus hasn't been there, the political will hasn't been there. And then also another challenge we face is, of course, dependence of imports of food goods, something I've been talking about over and over and over and over. That St. Martin relies heavily on imports for food. We import seafood. We still import seafood. I mean, something we could still grow, we could not grow, but we can farm here. So to summarize, St. Martin's strengths in the marine tourism and biodiversity conservation are foundational assets, but it faces challenges from environmental pressures, climate vulnerability, and limited regulations. Why? Why is food security so important for St. Martin? Food security within St. Martin's blue economy is crucial for several reasons. Primarily because we need to focus more on self-sustainability, reducing reliance on global supply. And this came to me during the pandemic. I had an aha moment only then. Hopefully it's not too late, but that's when I realized that that's where we had to go. From 2020, as a member of parliament, that's when I started to promote it. And I don't know if any of you has followed me throughout the last 4 years of my tenure in parliament, but my last year, that's where we started. The chairlady and myself, member of parliament, Sarah Westcott Williams, we started our agriculture, the CAFA, the Committee for Agriculture, Fisheries and Animal Husbandry. We started a committee finally to discuss that. And now with me here, the next step is to start our own agriculture department, but it will cover everything. So that initiative has started, and then that's one of the main reasons, and that's was the inspiration for the chairlady wanting to make sure that this year we shift the focus into agriculture. So this self-sufficiency becomes even more important in light of CARIBCOMM 25 by 2025. Have anyone here heard of the CARIBCOMM initiative called 20 by 2025? Show of hands. Few. So all the CARIBCOMM islands are busy with, by 2025, so by next year, trying to cut down their imports of food by 25%. And I visited one CARIBCOMM country that's doing that, and that's right there. 20-minute plane ride, a 1-hour boat ride, St. Kitts, and they are killing it. I went there and I tried all their fruits. They pumped in, I think, with $2 million in 2 million EC dollars in agriculture and fisheries and everything. And I went to some of the farmers, and they had an overload of fruits, and they wanted to just send them over to us 20 minutes away. 20 minutes away, it's right there. And it's sweeter than what we are getting right now, no pun intended to, but it's a fact. So I'm sorry to say it, but it is what it is. It's my truth, you know. And so it's not that we can, you know. We, St. Martin, we have the potential to reshape and this approach for food security through sustainable fisheries, through the development of aquaculture, through the establishment of marine protected areas, MPAs, and increased engagement with local communities. I truly, truly believe we can achieve this, and we need more structure and focus and a clear plan of approach. So what's our next step? What is our plan of approach? And I can only tell you this through a high level of where I would like to see it. So what our next step is that from a high level perspective, our primary is geared towards focusing on maritime-based resources within the blue economy. So St. Martin can unlock new pathways to strengthen local security, create economy resilience, reduce its dependence on import food, and the plan to accomplish this is through four key focal points, three components that I'm working on right now, that the Department of TIAT and collaboration, because it's going to be a multi-ministerial collaborative effort we're going to be working on together. And the first one, and of course the most important one, reducing food imports. So again, by reducing reliance on imports, not only will it lower our costs, but it will also reduce environmental impact associated with shipping and transport. This emphasis on local resources can support both the economy and the environment, ensuring sustainable approach to growth that benefits future generations of St. Martin. Next, we can promote by promoting local food sources. So by prioritizing local sourced seafood and marine-based products, St. Martin can provide residents with fresh, high-quality food options directly from the island's water, which we kind of do already, but we can do it in more of we can do it in a bigger way. This includes expanding aquaculture, so fish farming and sustainable fishing to create a reliable food supply, which reduces the need to import seafood from abroad. Then support our local fishermen, which is key. They've been neglected. Supporting our local fishermen is essential to building a strong, sustainable blue economy. And by investing in infrastructure, providing training in sustainable fishing techniques, and offering financial assistance or incentives, St. Martin can empower local fishermen to meet a greater share of the island's seafood. This includes access to better equipment, storage facilities, marketplaces, allowing fishermen to supply fresh, locally caught seafood directly to the consumer. So when local fishermen are supported, they can compete more effectively with imported food, reducing reliance again on external sources and ensuring profit stays within the community. And lastly, under that is protecting the ecosystems. If we don't protect that, we can't do anything else, right? So the health of St. Martin's marine ecosystem is vital to maintaining a sustainable food. So that again comes back with the marine protected areas and enforcing conservation measures. Next step is again, regulations, the lack thereof directly. That's the issue we have right now. So by implementing and reinforcing regulations, St. Martin's blue economy, the government can promote sustainability, promote natural resources, and support economic development while ensuring the well-being of our community. So we're looking at regulations to prevent overfishing, establish quotas, implement seasonal restrictions to maintain fish population and marine biodiversity. We're looking again at the MPAs to establish an enforcement of MPAs to preserve the ecosystem. We're looking also to pollution control, which we don't have, regulations to reduce ocean pollution from the land-based resources. But something that I completely forgot to add is, again, and I mentioned it earlier, is the aqua standards. So guidelines for sustainable agriculture, so fish farming, so including location controls, waste management, species protections to protect the ecological impact and promote the seafood. Then we have another thing which is important for us that I'm going to be focused on is community and education. So awareness campaigns. Communities must be educated about the importance of the sustainable practices. If we've been doing this earlier, we would have had more people here. Trust me, the will would have been there. Every time I talk about it, I get one or two people involved, but I think I need to do a lot more where that is concerned. And training and certification, and that's the support of government. Government needs to support our people with that as well, not only the fishermen, but the common everyone, to equip them with, equip the fishermen, maybe the tour operators, the aquaculture professional, equip them with the knowledge they need. And then most importantly, collaboration, because I can't do it without collaboration internally and externally with the neighboring islands. It is vital for enhancing the blue economy through knowledge sharing. And we're looking at key knowledge sharing, economic synergy, environmental conservation, capacity building when we do collaboration, cultural exchange, reliance building. This is what we can do with our neighboring island and even those on the north, which is kind of 10 steps ahead of us, right next door. So in summary, working together is essential for creating a sustainable and resilient blue economy that benefits St. Martin in the surrounding islands. And last, but definitely not least, ecotourism. That's exactly me again, ding, 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 ecotourism and food innovation. The marine-based tourism, the blue economy is also includes ecotourism related to St. Martin's oceans, such as diving, snorkeling. We're doing that already, but we need to find a way to boost it. And another thing that happened, that another eye-opener, wow moment for me, is when I went to St. Kitts, Jocelyn Richardson, which I don't think many of you know. Jocelyn is half St. Martin, half Kittitian. So he's doing a big project there in aquaponics, where I don't know if anyone know that aquaponics means just the recycling of fish waste. They're using, by using fish farming pond to feed plants, and they're doing it into a tour. A tour. So not only is he creating food, but he's doing food to farm to fork or farm to table? Farm to table, that's the one I know. Farm to fork, farm to table. So he's doing it. So I want to come up with more innovative tours like that for our blue economy, because again, I'm going to talk FCCA because we're on the topic of marine, right? They keep telling us, come up with innovative tours, come up with something creative, and this is it. So that's the focus as well when it comes to that, coming up with innovative tours that can have them enjoy our culture and our food and experience it. People don't, honestly, I don't think they want to shop much anymore. They just want to come and experience, because everything's on a cruise ship. You have to create something to get them off the ships. And lastly, but certainly not least, the innovation and technology. So encouraging innovation in the blue economy, such as sustainable fishing techniques, or again, bringing it back, and I'm going to keep repeating it, aquaculture. These type of technologies is the focus of this ministry. So to recap, the blue economy offers a transformative pathway for our island by empowering us to reduce imports and enhance food security through sustainable practices. So by focusing on our well-managed fisheries and aquaculture, again, my favorite word, we can create local food sources that provide fresh, nutritious options for our community, especially during disruptions in the global supply chain. So moreover, establishing a clear regulation is essential in protecting our marine resources and ensure responsible practices that preserves food biodiversity. So community engagement and education, as stated before, will be vital in fostering a sense of ownership and stewardship among residents, enabling them to actively participate in sustainable initiatives. And additionally, by promoting our ecotourism and innovative food practices, we can generate an economic opportunity that not only create jobs, but also attract visitors eager to experience our unique offering. So as we embark on this journey, let us remember the words of John F. Kennedy. The future does not belong to those who are content with today. It belongs to those who creates. So let's find a way to make our blue economy more creative, more sustainable. You know, together we can cultivate a resilient blue economy that supports a healthier, self-sufficient St. Martin, where our waters nourish both our community and our economy.
The first sentence that is there is, why should we care? Well, we heard already a little bit from the minister why we should care about food waste, because it's immense, and we as Vegan Food Foundation actually accidentally tapped into food waste. We started as an after Irma relief program, cooking meals for people. And that was from funds, from friends, from family that wanted to help on St. Martin. And at some point, of course, those funds dried out. And we were like, okay, what can we do? But the issue actually in the whole world of food waste is huge. So we said, well, okay, maybe we can find a supermarket who wants to donate their waste to us. And from that waste, we can make it into meals. And that was like, I want to say a gold mine. That sounds maybe a little bit awful. But we found out that the amount of food waste is just huge. I mean, today we really, we collect 400 kilos of food waste per day right now, from only maybe 5 or 6 supermarkets and wholesalers. So that's not even 10% of what we have on St. Martin, so it could be much more. Yeah, so we know about food waste, and we deal with a lot of food waste. And today's goal is to discuss, well, the impact of food waste and food security, and to offer actionable solutions for you, me, us to deal with, and basically, know what you're doing with your waste. We have two terms that we talk about: food security. So let's first tap into that. What is food security? And that is access by everyone to enough food for an active, healthy life at all times. Now, for me, the most important one is active and healthy, because on St. Martin, we can fill bellies. Like, we run a food bank, it's easy to have people come into the food bank and then give them food so they will feel full. But we all know when we go to the supermarket and we see the prices of the fresh produce, it's almost impossible to have a healthy meal and not only just stock up on the unhealthy stuff. So the food security for me is especially that people have access to fresh foods, fresh vegetables, because that doesn't only last for now, but that will also keep them healthy in the long run. So hospital bills will go lower, SZV will be more happy with all of that. For sure. And then, of course, we have food waste. And food waste, well, that's basically discarded food. And it's very important to realize that for us, food waste is anything waste that is not eaten by a human. So when it's composted, technically, I think, still feel it's waste. Yeah? Okay, good. So that's the two terms that we deal with. Food waste, I don't know if you know, but I think it's almost known for everyone that 1/3 of all food that is produced in the world is thrown away. That is discarded, that is left somewhere where we don't eat it. So realize that if you go into the supermarket, every third item you see there gets thrown out. Let that sink in. Yeah? Okay. And what's below? Oh yeah, and more of 50% actually happens in our households. So that's why we're here today, to learn a little bit how we can prevent that. Yeah? So our agenda for today is, first we identify the problem, the impact on households, food imports, and ecological consequences. Then we'll offer some solutions on the bigger scale. Ms. Laura will tell a little bit about that: education, business partnerships, and policy changes. And then it's your turn, practical actions and challenges to all of us. Yeah? Okay, problem identification. Why is there food waste on St. Martin? Well, we just heard, reliance on important food. Of course, that is huge on St. Martin, simply because we don't produce our own food or not enough, and there is many ways and there's work on, so I'm really happy to hear that. But especially also, of course, since I am vegan, I like agriculture a lot more than blue economy. but a green economy. But yeah, I think there should be ways that we support our local farmers, because we've tried in the food bank also to work with local farmers. But since we are a food bank and people come in, of course, with little money, they want low prices. And it's impossible to compete with the tomatoes that are in the supermarket than the tomatoes that are grown here on the island. Although they taste much better, if you're on a budget, it's just impossible. Then we have limited and inefficient waste processing facilities. That comes down a little bit to the composting part also, but also that people just don't know how to separate their waste, where to go with it. I think there's also a lack of trust in the waste facilities that we have, is what happens to it when I bring it there. There's been a lot of discussions about Meadowlands. What do they do? Where does it go? And I'm not saying anything about Meadowlands because I don't know, but that feeling I hear a lot about from our people when we promote separate your waste, bring it to Meadowlands. And people go like, yeah, but I go all the way to Carrefour and I don't know what they do with it. So I think that's also a part of it. Lack of organized composting. First of all, a lot of people don't have the possibility to compost, especially if you're in, in a low-income area, let's say Dutch Quarter. Most people don't have a garden, so where are you going to compost? And if you compost, what are you going to do with it? and I do think that I know Green SXM has a project that you can bring their compost and they do a lot with it. But yeah, that's only one organization on quite an island. Then a lack of experience in reading food labels. And I have a question for you. Best if used by. If you reach the date and above it said best if used by, can you then still eat it after? Yes. What happens then with the food? Why is that date there?
What does it mean?
What does it mean? Freshness?
Well, how long can you eat it after that? If it says best if used by today, how long can you eat it?
I think it depends on the
Yeah. It depends definitely.
A month or two after the.
A month or two.
How do you know?
Some do.
How do you know?
Some do.
Smell.
It's a research.
But it all depends on it. It does.
Yeah, basically what best if used by or best before, it only says something about the quality. So it might be that the quality after like a month or two, or depending indeed on what the food is, it will go bad or worse or whatever. It might not be as salty or sugary or whatever it is that you're eating. But it doesn't say anything about the safety of eating it. Yeah. Use by. Can you still eat it if the use by date is reached, or do you just throw it out? Same?
Depends on what it is.
Yeah, the use by is different than best before. Use by actually says you should eat it before it is reached that date. Of course, with everything, you open it, you smell it, you taste it. If it tastes good, just eat it. But it's good to know that. But if used by, best if used by is safe to eat maybe even for a year. Yeah, but best by, most probably, it's shorter. Yeah, it's just good to know that you realize, oh, it's best by, so maybe I should, or use by, sorry, maybe I should be a little more careful. Sell by date, what does that mean? Yeah, well, it's actually for the retailer. It has nothing to do with us as a consumer. It's just for the retailer to know when the shelf life is done. Yeah. Then they should sell it. Yeah, and then we have an expiry date. What does that say? Do you have a credit card?
If you don't
Exactly. It's like your credit card. Expiry date actually means throw it out. But be smart. Open it, smell it, taste it, and if it's still good. Yeah. And then, of course, and this is not, of course, I'm preaching for my own church, a can of beans is different than a can of tuna. Or a can of meat or whatever. Because a can of beans will not get, yeah, maybe you will get a little, but it won't, you know, you don't have to go to the hospital. With a can of tuna that doesn't smell good, yeah, just don't go there. All right. What do you have? Oh yeah, an inconsistent strategy to manage food waste. Well, that's of course Vegan Food Foundation in a way, is that there is a lot of food waste on the island with supermarkets, wholesalers, restaurants, hotels. Everyone has waste basically, but there's not a lot of waste for companies and also persons and hotels and restaurants to get rid of it basically. We are by now, by my knowledge, the only foundation that deal with that. And if everyone would call us, we would not be sitting here. No. Okay, so the impact of food waste on households with limited resources. People in poverty are often the most affected by food waste. Why do you think that is? Give me something.
They cannot afford what a regular person would have to afford to be able to maintain a household and also to eat healthy.
Because of?
The price in the
Yeah.
supermarket.
I went to Burger King last night. Yeah, sorry, I went to Burger King last night. Because they have a plant-based Whopper. People go like, what? I thought you were vegan. It's really good, by the way. If you ever go to Burger King, try it. It's really good. But you have a meal, and I thought I was actually, it was $9.95, I think, for a meal. You have French fries and a Whopper and la. But if you go to the supermarket and you buy like a broccoli and some potatoes and la, then you pay more. And even though it's more healthy, it feels for people like, yeah, you have the broccoli, so it's not going to feed your or 2 kids or 4 people. Yeah. Well, people in poverty often don't have proper refrigeration. They live in houses that are not the best isolated, so the rodents come in, they have bugs and all of that. Then, of course, many don't have transportation. So they have, like once a week, they can go to the bigger supermarket to do their grocery shopping. So they tend to buy maybe more than they actually need. And then the vegetables will go bad, or the meat or the fish, whatever they have. And what's also very important is that they tend to believe the commercial outings more. So if there is like a who likes the buy 2 bags of onion for 1? Yeah, I always shop at Fairway. It's potatoes and onions always. Yeah, I'm a family of 2. So a bag of onions lasts forever, basically. So I'm always at the cashier going like, but you can buy 2 for 1. And I'm like, but I only need 1. The good thing is I will get it and I will give it to someone else. Yeah, you share it. So that's what we do. But the how do you say, the ideal about the marketing of course wants you to buy it. The marketing is never for us. The marketing is always for someone getting richer. Yeah, and if you have that feeling, or if you understand how that works, and even everyone, if you see whiskey, the next time you get to a bar, you go like, oh, I have a whiskey. And that's how it works. That's why it's there. But people who live in poverty just believe those marketing strategies just faster than we do. All right, up to 40% of household food waste in the Caribbean comes from improper storage and purchasing. Education can help. So the improper storage, does everyone know how a fridge works? Do you store your fridge in a proper way? Do you know what goes on the upper shelf and what on the lower shelf?
Use your refrigerator in a proper way.
Yeah. Yeah, what goes on the top shelf of the fridge, not the freezer, the fridge? The drinks. Basically, your fridge it's logical, right? It's the coldest in the bottom, and then it goes up, so it gets warmer. So anything on top is like food that doesn't need the best refrigeration, so like drinks, maybe your leftover meal from yesterday, anything that's already cooked. What else do you have? Like the hard cheese, yogurt, like all of that, because yogurt can use a little more fermentation, so it doesn't matter if it's a little warmer. So the lower you get, the more fragile products you put. So on the bottom shelf, so not in the drawer, but on the bottom shelf is your meat and your fish and everything, and then in between you put like your yogurts and cheese and the younger cheeses, and in the bottom, of course, in the drawers go your vegetables. The door gets hot. Yeah, so only condiments, maybe your open pack of milk or whatever is there. And realize that every time you open the fridge, you lose 7% of the power of your refrigerator. Yeah, so if you think like, oh, I have milk for my cornflakes, close it. Oh, I forgot to I put sugar in my fridge. Sugar. Yeah. So that's already like almost 14%, and every time you open it, it gets worse. Yeah. So open it, get out what you need, and then close it. Good. Sugar in the fridge because of those stupid little bugs and whatever they have. I put also rice and all of that. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So we talked about a 1/3. If a household spends $500 a month on food, which I think is a lot, but it can, they could save up to $150 a month, which is $1,800 a year. That's a lot of money by just... I know, no, it's perfect. It's a perfect, yeah.
Okay, we talked about this.
We talked about this already, yeah. Food prices are really high. Well, let's talk about the ecological toll of food waste. Food production creates methane and greenhouse gas emissions. So that's just what... No, go ahead. It's fine. So, yeah, that's what happens when you make food. It just creates that. And also the transportation, we need trucks, we need planes to get it everywhere. And we use, of course, natural resources. Vast amounts of water, land, and energy. Now let's play a little game. Do you know how much water it costs to produce certain foods? And we'll start with my favorite.
Ready?
I am broccoli. Is it, yeah. How many liters of water does it take to produce 1 kilo of broccoli? Shout.
Anyone?
3.
Okay.
3 liters?
We have 3. Anyone think more than 3?
50. 50.
Okay, we have 350. You think it's more than 50 maybe?
Less than 50?
Less than 50. Chantal, you think it's less than 50 but more than 3?
Yeah.
Okay, is everyone sitting?
Ready?
Everyone sitting?
Drum roll. Bam!
284 liters.
Okay, so now you get the picture and you get to try the next one.
Yeah, the next one. How much water does it take to produce 1 kilo of chicken? So you
Right.
see the chicken running around.
Chantal, what's your guess now?
More than 200 double.
Okay, you think it's more? More than 2.
More?
Minister?
Yeah, you think it's less? Yeah.
You know, it's very strong to admit.
We should have put fish in there, actually.
It's the whole process of
Yeah, so it's everything. So it's a process of actually, I want to say, put it in the ground.
Raising the chicken.
Raising, getting it into the supermarket,
Less. You think
all of
it's
that.
less. Okay, we got a less and a more.
A less and a more. Well, is everyone sitting? Good. 4,320.
Can I just ask, did anyone have chicken to eat this week? I had chicken this week. Anyone else have chicken? Okay.
You're allowed to say it.
1,000 liters
It's
of
fine.
water. Did anyone happen to have beef or steak this week?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
you and me.
Save that too.
Ready?
Steak?
How much water to produce it? Now, I didn't eat a kilo. Did you eat a kilo? Okay, I didn't eat a kilo. So we get to divide that in like half or 3, what we're about to see. How much water do you think? We got 4,300 liters here.
Times the chicken.
3 times the chicken?
3 to 4 times.
We got 7,000, we got 12,000,
Not 3 to 4 times.
2,000. Okay,
Here we
I'm
go.
getting there.
You're
I
getting
did
there?
it. It's just a.
It's 15,000.
Okay, so the 3 or 4 was about right. But think about, can you picture 15,000 liters?
Yeah, well, I have a water bottle there, and it's 15,000 bottles of those.
It's
But
15,000 of these.
that is a given. But imagine wasting that. That you throw away the water, basically. If you and imagine, and just to make it tangible, a person uses 142 liters per day in water, which basically comes down to 500 for a family of 4. Yeah, the impact of food waste is immense, and 25% of our world's fresh water is used to grow food that is wasted. Yeah, and then 30%, I cannot read that,
30% of the world's.
agriculture land is used to grow food that is never consumed. That is immense. Now we got back to solutions. So it's your turn.
So we are not going to propose problems or give you problems for which we will just sort of leave you hanging and not offer any possible solutions. We've brainstormed some solutions that together we might be able to make a difference, and perhaps individually, which Joost will come back and share with you. And we were both somewhere yesterday where our colleague Jose Summers, or it was someone there, said something that really struck home to me. It wasn't the first time I've heard it, but I was anticipating this. And she said, you know, when you think that just one individual can't make a difference, she said, picture, and we've all had this, picture trying to go to sleep at night and you have one little mosquito around your room, right, in a closed room. And that one mosquito can make a big difference in your night's sleep. So we can all be that annoying. So as I talk about the potential solutions, I really want to encourage you all to be that annoying and continue to be that annoying. And I mean that in the best possible way. I think a lot of people think of me as annoying, right, Chantal? So, yeah, seriously. So they do. In this wonderful way. So, and I have, witnesses to my irritating behavior. So I encourage you all to be annoying in the best possible way. So first is the awareness campaigns. And I think we often talk about awareness. And I want to talk about awareness campaigns in the way that can be really annoying, that's embedded and you can't get away from it. And I'll talk about education in just a moment. But how can you, in your daily lives, raise awareness in a way that people can't avoid you? Can you raise it at the dinner table when you're with friends and say, oh my gosh, I heard this interesting little fact at Saturday night, and just raise it. Awareness campaigns don't always work when you ask people, I'm sorry, but to come here on a Saturday night when there's other stuff going on and it's World Food Day, what can you do in the course of your regular lives or in the course of other experiences when you're talking about something else in a meeting with government officials? Say, oh, by the way, that makes me think about, and then bring up something completely random from, having to do with food. Food security, you're talking about poverty alleviation. This totally relates to it. So make it relate to whatever you're talking about. I used to teach one subject, and I could teach that same subject. You could tell me to teach math, and I would still teach you about business ethics. So make it relate. So talk about meal planning with your kids. Talk about meal planning with your colleagues. And sometimes we don't know people who are living in poverty. I mean, we know people. We don't know who is living in poverty and who isn't. And so it really helps sometimes to talk about it with everyone. And suggest, hey, you know what I do with my leftover pasta? Let people know. Have those conversations. Have the conversation. Say, I cannot believe, that at the market, I saw this use by date, and start talking about these things with everyone, not just the people who you perceive to really need it, because we don't always have a good picker. We don't always, know who needs it and who doesn't. We have other education campaigns, workshops, and community events. And I mean that other community events that you're dealing with, perhaps foster care, or you're dealing with safety issues. Well, health is a safety issue. Slip it in there. And let's make sure that we can figure out how we can get this information out there in the best possible way. Maybe it's how to compost. If there's a problem with composting and it's, there's only one place to do it, people in poverty don't always have transportation. They might very much want to do it, but we have to figure out what are the barriers to some of these things. When you cook with leftovers, one of the big problems is, when you try and maintain leftovers, is that people don't have Tupperware because purchasing Tupperware is expensive. And when they try and store things, it goes bad, because they don't have proper refrigeration. And then they get sick, and then it's a health issue. So now we have health rather than just food security. So all of this is combined to allow you to have the conversations in all different types of workshops and community events. It doesn't have to be an event about food. Third, sorry, there's a little delay, I don't know why. Comma. If I click it, it's going to go too fast.
You're going back.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, the third one is school programs. Well, school, so I was a professor, and I always think school's the best way because it's required and it's mandated, and you have these students sitting in your class and they have no choice. And so if we could, and we talk about policy in a moment, but if we could require that these types of topics are discussed in our schools. Yeah. I'm sorry, this might sound a little judgy, but we require many hours of traffic instruction in our schools in St. Martin, and I'm very familiar with this because I get a little frustrated just because, and I don't say that traffic instruction's not important, it certainly is, but the relative amount of time we spend on traffic versus some of the other very important issues, well, I'm okay if we spend a little less time on traffic and a little more time on health. And so we might be able to find a few minutes to be able to discuss some of these very important issues. So we can create long-term cultural change by spending more time with some of the agriculture issues that you discussed. I think it's beautiful what you shared about your upbringing. And we could certainly spend more time in our schools talking about this so that future generations learn about health in a much more holistic manner. When we talk about business partnerships, there are many ways in which many of our businesses can profit by partnering in order to help from a food security perspective. They can create shared waste management strategies like composting, and I won't go into it now, but there are very profitable ways in which they could do this. And there are all sorts of campaigns on saying no to plastic straws. I want to pitch just saying no straws. I mean, a lot of people don't like the paper straws because they disintegrate, but I'm not sure why this baby at some point might need a straw, but other than babies, why do adults need straws? I'm not sure why. So if we could just...
When you're a senior and you're also in the hospital.
Excellent contribution here.
But you can do the reusable straw.
Oh, reusable or paper, but as someone, and many in our community who do not have specific needs, we could sort of encourage people just not to use straws. Because even the paper creates waste that then we have to deal with. So as you're at the dinner table, we could just say no to straws. So that might be an idea. Food donation incentives, and we'll get to the very next one as well. But just to be clear, and we're not a very large group, many of you might know what we do at Freegan, but when markets and others have foods that are close to their sell by and use by date. I want to use all of them, I got confused.
No, they don't even know the difference.
Exactly. And they are no longer going to sell them in their traditional manners. They will contribute. And so sometimes we have contributions and we encourage it. And so but we only have a very small number of partnerships. And so we would encourage many more partnerships, and many organizations could do this. And so encouraging businesses to do it rather than discarding it would have an extremely significant impact. And so expanding support for organizations like Freegan would be exceptional and have a significant impact. And finally, policy change solutions. And yes, I'm speaking to this side of the room. There's need for more support from government to organizations to reduce food security issues. Mandatory food donation laws. I'm not sure what negative impact that would have. I mean, the grocery stores are just going to get rid of it. So why not simply require that they give it? It's a win-win, win-win-win. I don't understand what would be the negative impact on that. France actually does it, so...
Italy does it too.
Italy does it too. So there are models for this, and I'd be happy to do the research and write it, and I have a law background, so...
If you can find a model law, I would love to.
Happy to give it to you.
I'm still a member of Parliament for a few weeks.
Okay. Hurry. Chantal has my contact. See, I can be really irritating. Incentives, I also have stuff I can write you on this one. Incentives for reducing waste, tax incentives. And it's another win-win because you are spending money on dealing with the waste, so why not give tax incentives? And there are several countries, US is horrible with it, but several European countries that have documented how much they save money if they give tax incentives for reducing waste instead of spending money on dealing with waste. And then finally, and I'm almost done here, you can prohibit the promotion of unhealthy foods. This is just as a mom here. I just hated it when my kids would see all the ads for all the crap and then want it, and I just thought, oh my gosh, my life would be so much better if they couldn't be, marketed to so heavily. And so, the Happy Meals and all of that.
What can we do to reduce waste today? Well, Laura already mentioned it. Plan meals and buy only what is needed. Who makes grocery lists? Who sticks to the grocery lists? Okay, well, get the app. Well, store food properly, we already talked about it, and engage businesses. to reduce food, and if they have, then please give it to organizations like us. Community fridges, I really believe that would be a good thing if community, I want to say community houses, no, how do you call them? Community centers, thank you. Have like a way of people storing food there. We talked about educational campaigns and composting, which is always the last step. Yeah, for me at least. But why? Well, we talked about saving money. Households can extend their food budgets, strengthen food security to minimize waste and redistribute surplus food, to improve health, because it's so important that people realize that if you eat fresh food, that you don't get sick in the long run, which will save you money in the long run. Because my Burger King meal from yesterday will eventually, hopefully not, but if I eat them a lot, then eventually it will evolve in something bad. And of course the environmental impact, which I think should be the first one to think about with everything. The planet should always actually be the first if we think of anything, because without a planet we cannot live. Yeah, and we always think about, and there's another slide, that, yeah, you know, it's all about me and it's about collaborations, and of course we need to think about the planet. And I was like, nah, think about the planet first. Yeah, I'm sorry, we've come to this, and especially on St. Martin, where we know what climate change does. Some people live right next to the sea. We need to make sure that we still can breathe in a few years. So, pick a challenge. I have 5 for you. 1 is 7 days no waste. For the next 7 days, use all the food you purchase without throwing anything away. Is that easy?
It is.
Yeah?
Once you minimize, okay, may I add
Yeah.
a bit? I'm on a health diet change with Dr. Barrett first.
Oh yeah.
And I have reduced a lot of things that I'm eating now, so of which is I don't waste as much
No.
as before.
Yeah.
So,
But people
yeah, I
often
think
with
that's
their
good.
food scraps though.
Yeah.
Like when you cut
You
the
cut an
skin
onion.
off an apple,
Oh,
Yeah.
what do you do with the
I
skin?
tried the.
Yeah, but that's how far you go.
Bananas
But the banana peel.
What do you do?
Actually, what you can do.
Okay, she wants another challenge.
Okay, well, for banana peel, take a fork and just go scrape it, and you season it however you season whatever that meat is called. Pulled pork, and it tastes exactly the same. Bake it. Yeah. Okay, good. Scrap Saturday or any day, but I liked the alliteration. Is that how you call it? Scrap Saturday. Each Saturday, only use leftovers from the week. Reduce 30% in 30 days. Now this takes a little effort. If you make a little bucket on your counter, and for 30 days you're going to throw in all the green waste you have, or green waste or food waste. Then of course you don't leave it there for 30 days, but every time you throw it out, you weigh it first. Then you throw it out. Then after 30 days, you know how much kilo you actually waste as a family or as a person. And then you try to reduce it the next month by 30%. Because you will be amazed how much scraps add up to eventually food waste. Yeah. Of course, it can include meal planning and everything. Composting, if you have the ability. It's actually so good for your mental health to have your hands. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no. But to have your hands in the soil and everything, and to focus on how things grow and how they actually desecrate, how they call it? How the earth breaks it down. My English got lost. It's so good for your mental health. It's so nice. It's so in the moment. Yeah, and this is note to self, just so you know. And the last one is a 2-week meal plan with 0 waste. Create a detailed meal plan for 2 weeks. Okay, anyone knows Chat. GPT. I did it today.
Your best friend.
I was like, okay, write me a 2-week vegan, of course, meal plan for the next 2 weeks. Enter. And then the first thing I saw.
Broccoli.
Cilantro.
Well, you have to give it guidance.
Hey, cilantro.
It has to get to know you.
No. The thing is, I used to work somewhere, and that kitchen used to throw cilantro in every meal. So I'm just, but so I did without cilantro. And I was like, oh, now I have to print it, and I have to go write everything. Oh wait, create grocery list. Plug, and I got the grocery list all categorized by grains, by beans, by the. I was like, oh, I love chat.
I know.
It's so easy. It's really easy. For these things, it's really great. So the conclusion, this is the one I was talking about. Let's take care of ourselves, each other, and our planet. The other way around. Let's take care of our planet first. Yeah? Think if the planet still can handle it, then we can think of ourselves and each other. Where are we? Oh yeah, the conclusion. Food waste negatively affects food security and the environment, but small actions can lead to big things. The mosquito is still in the room. Then call to action. Start today with small changes in your home, business, or community projects to reduce waste. And then, of course, and I think this is a very important one, is it is sometimes put upon us as individuals that we can do so much. We've had the campaigns of showering shorter, especially when we talk about climate change. It's always what you can do as a person. And I'm always like, yeah, that's very nice, but I can shower for a minute, and then I hear Shell doing whatever they need to do. So we need those big companies. They can do much more than me individually. Of course, I am responsible for what I do, but I think I as a person also can hold other people, other companies, or governments accountable for what they do. And we've talked about agriculture, and of course we all feel and see the new buildings coming up in a hotel, and I'm going like, yeah, but at what point do we realize that we cannot eat from a concrete hotel? We need ground to grow stuff if we want to change